Fantasy Baseball Code Red, the all-new weekly show bringing you the latest news, insight, and advice on all things fantasy baseball. Join Mike Ferrara and Mike Moosbrugger on In Radio every Saturday at 11 for an hour of unscripted and fully interactive live fantasy baseball. Fantasy Baseball Code Red, season premiere March 22nd at 11 on InRavio.com. In Radio, this isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Nerdgasm. Well, I've got to say that every episode is very special. Because if I don't, you're not going to tune in.
Very special episode tonight. We actually have a woman on.
That's right.
Hi.
We have Adrianna Amaya. She is.
Say the full name. It sounds all Latin and sexy.
Yeah.
What's the full name, Adrianna?
It is Adriana Catalina Amaya.
Say it like that.
I can't. It's
really
not
hard.
really my ability to say make it sound like that. So we got Adrianna. She's a Hulk expert. Then I took a college class on the Hulk. We got
Wait, what?
Peppercorn Montgumary.
That was my name's sexy.
We have Peppercorn.
In an Irish accent.
Okay, no, you say his name.
Say his name? Okay, Peppercorn Montgomery.
Sexy enough.
English, nice.
Yes.
To my right?
Well, I am a proper gentleman.
To my right?
I'm a proper gentleman. Oh, I'm Joe Winchell.
And to my right,
Joe
I've got
Winchell.
Joe Winchell. And we are all discussing superhero movies tonight. We are starting off with Super Buddies, which may be, in fact, the best superhero film I've seen, about 4 renegade doggies. My problem with this was that, at one point it stopped being believable once the alien came down from outer space. Actually, no,
I'm not going to lie. I actually thought that was a solid review from it. I was going to smack that thing out of your hand.
Finally, we actually had a good review on the show. Sales of Super Buddies have gone through the roof. Is that
But we're going to start things off because this is a big news week. We had like a major news week for nerds.
It was moderate.
No, but because I wrote up 3 news stories, and Peppercorn Montgomery came up with a news story that I neglected, and then other news stories channeled in.
To be fair, that last news story came out the last second.
Right.
We've talked
I
about
mean,
that.
in fact, quickly speaking, it was announced, because this is nerd news, that Star Wars Episode 7 will be taking place 30 years after.
I thought it was 20 years.
30 years after.
30
years after Return of the Jedi. Since the film will be released about 33 years after, so it's right in the same timetable.
Is that in continuity with after Jedi came out with?
Yeah.
So that's 30 years since the movie came out, essentially. So they're
Right.
doing it in real time.
33.
prostate cancer would be
You ever wonder, what would I would have loved to have seen, and I say this completely facetiously, at the end of Return of the Jedi, if it had, at the end of America.
A good ending?
At the end of it.
Not that Muppet show they did at the end of it.
I like the Muppets.
I like the Muppets.
Do you remember the end of American Graffiti, Lucas's first and second film, where it shows the fate of everyone
And
in
it shows
the bubbles?
his downfall as a director right after that.
Right. But it shows that, so-and-so went off to Vietnam and died. At the end of American Graffiti, it showed the fate of everybody. At the end of Return of the Jedi, I would love to have seen the fate of everyone. Han Solo went off to sell.
Yeah, but then we wouldn't be able
So
to have this
basically,
movie.
it ended like Animal House.
That's the best ending, Senator Robert Plutarski.
Han Solo went off to sell used plumbing parts at the distant end of the galaxy. Nothing like.
He went off to become an archaeologist.
Oh, that's right. Even better. So. Aside from the headlines that came in last minute, these are our 4 headlines, and Adriana, I want you to take it away with our 4th news story.
No problem.
Make it sound good.
Okay, so this is Nerdgasm News.
Better.
Continuing the popular trend of remakes and reboots, Paramount has announced its plans to film a remake to the 1985 classic sci-fi film, The Explorers.
Ah! Really? No.
Yeah! The Explorers is the story of 3 boys who build a spaceship and meet a group of alien teenagers. The film was the film debut of Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix, and a 3rd kid no one remembers, although I hear he's doing great. When the Explorers first came out, the film was a bomb. Thanks to the studio moving the release date up and rushing the third act, the movie received less than stellar reviews and audience stayed away. But like so many classic films from that period, it found new life on video and cable. We have asked on multiple occasions, has Hollywood run out of ideas? And week in and week out, week in and week out, we are given our answer. The Explorers was certainly a flawed film, with a very weak twist in the third act, but it is a memorable classic for those of us who grew up in the mid and late 80s. These types of remakes typically don't perform very well at the domestic box office, example Total Recall and RoboCop, but they do make huge numbers overseas, where the originals were never released on anything but VHS. So I think we'll be seeing a lot more of these remakes so we can either get used to them or just use our money to see a good Wes Anderson film instead.
Has anybody actually seen this film? You have.
I've never seen it, no.
It used to be one of those.
I want cheese. Don't you remember that scene with the mouse
I do.
playing?
So you've seen the movie?
Of course, yeah.
I've actually never seen it.
A lot of people haven't. I used to rent this movie every week.
Really?
And it's about a bunch of kids that basically build. It's Ethan Hawke's first movie, River Phoenix's first movie. And they build the spaceship out of like stuff in the garage, you know what I mean? And it's just really cool. I used to rent it every weekend. I thought it was the most awesome thing.
It was, clearly, inspired by the success of Goonies and things like that.
But basically, that's the best way. That's actually pretty well.
But it was the type of kids movie where as a kid, you were like, "Oh my God, I could do that."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, when you think about all the lives that Joe Dante destroyed by making the kids who try to build UFOs,
the mess they had inside of it, the kid built everything for it.
Yeah.
What did you say about Joe Dante destroying lives?
No, I'm saying, like, when they were making Back to the Future, they were afraid that if the original time travel idea was that it was going to be in a refrigerator, and then they got concerned that kids would start trying to go inside refrigerators. I'm just thinking of all the kids that Joe Dante...
refrigerator to DeLorean.
Wait. Oh, it's a DeLorean because I thought it was safer.
Really is a natural progression.
But I'm just saying, I'm just now thinking of all the kids that try to build spacecrafts after watching Explorers when they were growing up.
But it was garbage cans, so you could...
Right.
Okay.
It was garbage cans and a piece to an old tilt-a-whirl.
Yeah, it was a piece of an old tilt-a-whirl. But as far as a remake goes,
if they change the second half, it might be a good thing.
I like the whole movie.
Right, but I love it.
I really do. I mean, it's not the best.
Is the ending is a little
weird.
Yes.
It's a little weird.
Why is it weird? What makes it?
Well, you're going to have to see it.
You'll find out.
You're going to have to see
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's not hard to find, actually. I've seen it.
Really?
It's a great
You go to
one.
Best Buy. It's a great watch, but I'm not like precious about it or anything. I'm not saying they should remake it, but I don't get why of all kids' movies I thought they'd remake Goonies before this, the way that Hollywood's been going lately.
Well, I think Goonies. Goonies next week. That'll be a new story. Has anybody in the chat room seen Explorers? You guys like that?
Hey, everyone.
But we have
seen Explorers.
So let's move on to our third news story then.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so number 3. X-Men Days of Future Past director Bryan Singer revealed in December that another X-Men film is in the works, entitled X-Men Apocalypse, and that he will be back on board as director. In the latest issue of Total Film, Singer dropped some clues as to what Apocalypse will bring. Though the film takes place in the 80s, we're going to deal with the notion of ancient mutants, the fact that they were born and existed thousands of years ago. He also indicates that Apocalypse will be more spectacle-heavy than any X-Men film to date. But in the meantime, Days of Future Past opens on May 23rd.
This is big news for anybody who loves X-Men.
Yes, it was news for me.
The Days of Future Past was like their big storyline, and then after that was Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And Age of Apocalypse is like... Apocalypse
I
is...
imagine they're not doing the exact story.
No, that would be amazing, though, wouldn't it?
I don't know if you could pull that one off on film.
Go to the Savage Land for like 3 movies.
Yeah, which actually might be fun.
Yeah, well, apparently they're going to go to Savage Land in one. They have to, in some way, go. I want to see it. It'd be really cool. But that's like a big escaping story.
Yeah.
So I also assume this will be the longest out of the X-Men films, because I don't know if you can do this whole story in anything less than 2 hours and a half.
Oh, Control Room, could we throw on the images that correspond with these news stories? Yeah, they're around there somewhere. But I mean, the trailer, I really like Singer's X-Men movies a lot.
I feel like Singer after X-Men 3 is like, oh god, I need to come back. Like,
Superman Returns.
Oh yeah, when they're. I hate that movie. Oh god, yeah. But he did he do First Class?
No. That was
Matthew Vaughn. Actually, Matthew Vaughn.
The guy who did Kick-Ass also, the first.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
And then it was
right.
up for the Star Wars sequels, and they ultimately went with J.J. Abrams. But Vaughn did such a good job on that one that it opened a lot of doors.
Like Spielberg's pet. I'm not really
Pretty
surprised
much.
by that one.
Pretty much. Although Luke Spielberg had nothing to do with Star Wars, though. So.
You think that, but come on.
So let's move on. Let's move on to the second news story.
No problem, Dave. Hugh Jackman and his The Wolverine director James Mangold have been throwing about talk of doing a follow-up to last year's standalone Wolverine film. However, they didn't intend to move forward until they had something great in mind. Responding to a fan on Twitter, Mangold says, scheduling-wise, at the moment, I'm shooting the next Wolverine after X-Men Apocalypse. That would put the Wolverine on target for a 2017 or 2018 release.
So did you see the Wolverine? Did anybody see the Wolverine? You saw it?
Didn't get to. I
You didn't
really
get to.
wanted
Did you see it at the same? No.
I know.
No, I saw it with my girlfriend.
No, I saw it with friends. That's right.
We're just friends.
I heard there were mixed feelings about that film.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
So then how can you have mixed feelings about
No, I
something
heard
that's-
other people had mixed
A
feelings.
lot of people had
about
mixed
it.
feelings about
It's
it.
very different
Yeah.
than a lot of other.
It's definitely
superhero
better than
movies.
the previous film. It's worlds better than the previous film.
Yes.
I felt like they treated the character better.
Okay.
It didn't. It follows a storyline that I like a lot, where he does in the comic book. Logan does go to Japan, and he actually doesn't use his claws at all, and he learns the way of the samurai. So they kind of did an adapted version of that, and I thought it was cool. It was a little cheesy at the end with they introduced one character.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was still good. I liked it. I didn't think it was amazing, but I thought it was cool.
Okay.
I liked his.
I mean, it's more of a character study.
It is.
Than any other of the superhero movies.
I would imagine.
So from a comic book purist point of view, the last film is a lot better than the previous film, but I don't really follow the comic book much, so I didn't have that much of an issue with the previous Wolverine movie, and I didn't have much issue with this one either. I like them both.
You're in the minority.
Yeah, well, you guys.
That's just a bad film, though. Like, come
I
on.
know. So with any film with Liv Schreiber as the.
I love Liv Schreiber, and I like Liv Schreiber
who gives it his all, and there's a lot of things about that film that I like. Plus, it's from the director, like a really well-respected foreign director.
I lost some respect for me after that movie.
Okay, but I didn't. No, it's not. It's like I rank.
I'm not disagreeing
The
with
script was so off target. That,
Yeah.
And if the director's not a comic book purist, to use Dave's phrasing,
But it was just.
it's not. The whole treatment of Gambit was all off. The whole treatment of even the Blob.
And what's something we've been waiting for
And
so
then
long to see
Deadpool was
Gambit.
just-
The Deadpool thing really
That
pissed me
was-
off because I've been waiting for that
I know.
Deadpool movie for years, and it seems like it's finally going to happen within the next couple of years now. But at the time, I was like, this sucks. Especially because, and I'll say this to my grave, I really do believe Ryan Reynolds would be a good choice to play Deadpool.
Yes.
I really do believe that.
I
So
can
I
see
thought
that,
when
yeah.
they were going to introduce him, we were going to get to see this guy being a jerk, Deadpool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we got samurai claws.
And no mouth.
Which was ridiculous because it was longer than his forearm.
Yeah.
Lockdown in Sharon says Wolverine origin. There is only one thing that can stop Wolverine now. These antimanian bullets, or however you say it.
Oh God, that was
Adamantium
stupid.
bullets,
That was
yeah.
just stupid. How do we stop him? Well, adamantium bullets. How do you know that? How is it that you know that? Thanks, Colonel.
Okay. So I'm not going to get into the middle of this passionate debate right here, but
It's just a stupid movie.
why don't we go on to our number one news story?
Sure.
By the way, that's not Hugh Jackman on the screen before us. We didn't have rights to show Hugh Jackman, so we got his wax figure.
I knew it. I was like,
that is Madame Tussauds. That's in LA though.
oh, really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, he looks like he got on
He looks, something, like something's wrong.
I don't know, but.
So
His skull looks
The
misshapen.
production value we have, man.
that's right.
Okay. So
have
number
the rights
one,
to Madame Tussauds?
nerd news. Captain America 3 and Zack Snyder's Batman vs. Superman are set for a release date standoff in 2016. Unsurprisingly, all three think a third Captain America film will come out on top. Who will end up victorious? Only time will tell. I wonder.
So the third Captain America film. I don't understand.
First of all, I haven't seen the second one yet.
Well, the second one comes out
Either
next
They
month.
haven't released it yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
And we weren't invited to the premiere.
No, but it looked really
Again.
cool. I was looking at pictures of it today.
how much enthusiasm can this film possibly generate? The second film possibly generate. The first one was, moderate hit.
I loved the first Captain America movie.
Well, I'm going to be can't wait for our Captain America episode because I am going to strongly disagree with you on that.
Most people do, but I loved it. Each your own.
But the thing is, like, the second one, even if it takes a whole new approach, I don't think that there's that same level of enthusiasm regarding, a franchise, a film series like Superman, Batman has been in the works for so long. It's going to have roughly the same amount of enthusiasm, or possibly, as the Avengers, and because the Avengers was so many years in waiting and build up. But I just don't understand how the point's even made. The argument's even made that Captain America.
I just don't see how this is news. It doesn't. It's two completely different films, and it's just two movies in the same day. Like, that's the world we live in. That's news. Oh my God, two movies are coming out in the same day. But 3 years from now, right?
2 years.
We haven't even gotten to Avengers 2 yet. Never mind Captain America 3. I don't care. I got to see the second one. Then I got to see Ant-Man. Then I got to go and see Guardians of the Galaxy. Then oh my God, Captain America 3 is coming.
But honestly, though, you make a good point because that is true. Because Captain America 3, if Captain America 3 was just the third part of the Captain America story, I would be like, oh well, Batman and Superman's going to get the bigger haul that weekend. But Captain America 3 is part of a dozen movies that fit together. I mean, Captain America 2 is coming out, and it basically looks like it's almost like a pure sequel to Avengers.
Oh, I can't wait. I think we have. I'm not sure if I heard this right, but I think we have Superman calling in on Skype right now.
No, we don't. Oh my God!
Hi.
It's Superman. Hey, Superman, I'm really honored that you're calling our show. It's him.
Hey, Superman, it's Superman.
Yeah,
I tell you to speak up, but he has super hearing.
I'm a little starstruck right now. And look at those super teeth of his, too. Wow, hey, man. So what do you think of our show tonight, Superman?
It's pretty intriguing.
That's good. So, I mean, are you getting us from the distant reaches of space, or your apartment at the Daily Bugle?
I'm actually in the
I'm going to talk to Superman now.
Okay.
You're doing great, Dave.
Daily
Keep
Bugle
it up.
is Spider-Man, I know.
Keep going.
Where is he?
Where's the Daily Planet?
You work at Planet Fitness, you work at, right?
I'm so sorry. Cal, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if I call you by your former name.
It's going great.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm just starstruck. I can't handle it.
It's okay. I'm kind of starstruck
Why don't you?
too.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Hi.
This is my sister.
So,
by the way.
how's Lois? Is that still like happening, or?
Oh God!
Don't ask about his private life.
I'm sorry, keeping it professional.
So, Superman, you could hear us, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So now I want to hear your take on the fact that Captain America 3 and Batman vs Superman are being released on the same weekend. What do you make of this?
I think it's a bad move on Marvel's part. Just because, I mean, you got two of the most iconic, superheroes, Batman and Superman. The first Superman being the first comic book hero, and Batman being the second. And Captain America is really not much of a household name.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I have to agree with Superman on this one. I can't wait. I can't believe I had to say that.
So Superman, what is, now that you're doing the film with Batman? I'm sorry, I'm just really nervous. Now that you're doing the film with Batman,
you're doing great.
Thanks. What is he like? What is Batman like?
He's pretty serious. He doesn't crack too many jokes.
Really?
He kind of keeps to himself in his little cave.
Well, I've got something to tell you, Superman.
What are you doing, Dave?
I wasn't correct.
Please.
So anyway, Superman. So
Anyway,
do we have a question from the super panel right here for Superman?
I do have a question. I do. I want to agree with something. I do agree with what Superman said. I don't think it's going to be a competition between, and I'm being very serious. I don't think that it's going to be a competition between Captain America 3 and Batman and Superman. Regardless, they're coming out in the same day. Yeah. Batman and Superman will do more business, no matter what. And I'll go on record of saying that right now. Granted, in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure whatever Marvel's planning, but I think Batman and Superman is going to do the more business because love it or hate it, that movie's going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's pretty much.
I got your back, Superman. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Now, Superman, we can only see a little piece of your costume. Is there a way you could stand up and give us a full tour?
Yeah, can you
Give us a full tour.
Okay.
Yeah, that. See, he's in the. That's awesome.
So that's the Fortress of Solitude.
Are you
That's the lounge in the Fortress of Solitude.
It's very
It's
comfortable.
nice. I wish my house looked that nice.
Oh my God, what a suit. Okay.
I usually don't
Where are we?
like too many
Why don't you come down there? You okay?
Yeah, I know. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
Sorry.
now here comes the moment of truth. Who are you really?
My name is William Miller.
Okay, William
I live
Miller.
in Brooklyn. That was my kitchen.
And typical. Now you are somebody. We have some pictures of you at some events. You go to a lot of different events, and this is your costume. This is a costume that you had personally made, right?
Yeah, I bought it. I bought the print and then had it. Sewed it together and everything. And,
Wow, that's
Wow.
awesome.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. So how did you even go about getting this thing made?
I mean, you gotta do your research and find somebody who's good at Photoshop and knows how to do fashion.
Is that the Man of Steel outfit, or is that?
Yeah.
It's,
That is. It
Actually,
looks,
it
looks very good.
Yeah.
I have another one coming up that I just ordered. It's the new 52 version.
Ah, very cool. Very cool.
So that'll look better than this one. A little more effort. I have more time to put into it.
Do you have any cons you're going to coming up, sir?
I want to go to San Diego. We'll see if I can get tickets. San Diego's pretty tough to get into.
Yeah, it is.
And then it gets really expensive if you don't get tickets. And then obviously I'm gonna do the New York Comic Con.
Awesome.
I want to do the PAX East to the Penny Arcade Exchange.
Oh
in,
yeah,
Boston.
I've been that before. That's awesome.
I just have to figure out the costume situation, which one I want to wear. I gotta tweak this one a little
if you get
bit.
the new 52 one, rock the new 52 one. That'll be awesome.
So I got to ask you, what is your favorite Superman movie? What would you say your favorite couple of Superman movies are, of all of the ones that have been made?
I assume Quest for Peace.
Not the last two, and not Superman Returns.
Is it the original?
No, that was the one with Brandon Routh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would say Superman 1 was good.
Yeah.
Obviously a classic. I really liked the last one. I thought Henry Cavill did a really great job. I thought they could have gave him a little more dialogue to show more personality, give him a little, introduce the character a little more. But overall it was great. A lot of people didn't like it. They said there was too much action. The last movie they did, Superman Returns, there was no action, so it's kind of hard to please everybody.
I've been saying that. Superman agrees with me. See? Yeah.
On the same
He
page.
doesn't even like his own movie.
I hate Superman Returns.
But I gotta ask you before we go. What was your introduction to Superman? What got you into such a fervent like of the character that you've gone all out to do this stuff?
Well, I've been a fan since I was like a little kid. I actually have pictures. I didn't send you. I forgot to send you. I used to have the pajamas when I was like 4 years old with the Velcro cape. My mom said I used to run around the house with my arms out and jump on the long end of the couch and pretend like I was flying.
Do you remember any super injuries as a little kid?
I've never had an injury, really.
Man of Steel, Dave. Man of Steel.
The Man of Steel.
Nothing serious. And then I just remember everybody had Superman underoos.
I had
Yeah,
Batman
growing up as a
underoos.
little
I don't know
kid.
what you're
I'm
talking
wearing
about.
them right now, as a matter of fact. So now,
I grew up a
Take
Batman
away.
kid. I'm sorry.
how can people find you on Facebook?
You can catch my fan page. It's www.facebook.com/William1of1.
Nice.
I need to be a little more active on it. I haven't been. I'm more active on my Instagram.
Okay, excellent. Well, Superman, thank you so much.
If you see William at any cons, go and take a picture with them and put it up on his Facebook.
Right on, man. Right on, brother. So thank you for Skyping in, and we'll catch you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Dave is hotter than Superman. I wonder who that
I just read
is.
that. I'm like, wow.
Wait, don't say, where's Superman? He's still, you don't say that one. Oh, look
I
at
know.
that.
Oh, he's gone. Okay.
So anyway, it's time for a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to discuss both Thor movies. So come on back.
I thought we were going to do the
Hulk. Yeah.
That's what I mean, but eventually we'll be doing...
Didn't you write this?
I did, but I'm confused. Superman's chest threw me off.
See, you should put that in bold. I think it is.
Anyways.
See you in a second, everybody.
InRevio.com.
Hey, this is Gina Cotillo from The Gina Show. Come join us every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for celebrity interviews, Reality Reel with Billy Charles, funny stories with Brian Ginier, and much, much more. The Gina Show can be found only on InRevio.com, broadcasting to the world. So come and catch us.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
Fantasy Baseball Code Red, the all-new weekly show bringing you the latest news, insight, and advice on all things fantasy baseball. Join Mike Ferrara and Mike Moosbrugger on InRevio every Saturday at 11 for an hour of unscripted and fully interactive live fantasy baseball. Fantasy Baseball Code Red, season premiere March 22nd at 11 on InRevio.com. InRevio, this isn't TV, this isn't radio, this is InRevio.com.
Welcome back, and thank you, Dark Roast Rises, for saying that the lice commercial was the best part of the show so far. Clearly you have no taste. We're back on the greatest show on the internet. That's right, you're watching Nerdgasm, bitches.
It's a bold statement.
So, we're now discussing the original 2003 Ang Lee take on the Hulk, which I think was probably really exciting when people heard that Ang Lee was announced as the director of this film.
Really? Okay.
And then the film came out. So let me just say something. Like, let me impugn Ang Lee in general. I've never seen an Ang Lee film that hasn't disappointed me in one way or the other. No matter how well received the film was or how badly it was received, Ang Lee consistently disappoints me. Life of Pi, loved the first half. By the end of it, I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But I mean, still, like, the expectation has always risen beyond what the man, at this point in time, for me, has delivered. He's a good director. I'm not going to deny him that. But when it came to the Hulk in general, I liked that, he had a very, I'm not going to say I hate the film.
Yeah,
it's one of the most unique comic book stories that I've seen. I like even how there's scenes where there's, that he would literally make it look like you're moving from one frame to the other. It was an impressive.
The comic book thing they did?
The comic book transition.
Yeah, from one frame to the next. Did it really illustrate?
Yeah, that was
Did it really illustrate
cool.
being in a comic book? Not exactly. Less would have been more. And it had this really interesting tone that was very specific. It was the gloomiest of any comic book movies. And we're talking about the Hulk.
It was really depressing, actually.
At times, it had the gravitas of a Holocaust movie or something like that.
That might be a step far, but
I hate this movie. I hate it. I paid money to see this in the theaters. I went out and smoked 3 cigarettes in a row, and missed nothing. I missed nothing. It was just, you know what the one good part about that movie was?
What?
Sam Elliott as Thunderbolt Ross. They should have carried him over into the next film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like him more than William Hurt in that. But even the Danny Elfman score was so. I mean, I would use that music. I would listen to the Danny Elfman score to write a
It's the worst.
Because it didn't. All of the pieces were together.
Yes.
They were interesting, but when you put all these pieces together, the film that resulted was very bizarre.
Bizarre doesn't even.
Can you hate the film?
I'm not trying to talk over you. I'm sorry, Dave. I hate this movie. This movie sucks.
The film was frustrating.
It's frustrating because it sucks.
Let me ask you this: didn't you see things in there that you liked?
No,
you didn't see anything that you liked.
No, the cult doesn't grow bigger.
What do you think? Okay, that's a purist issue. But it's weird. It's a weird choice.
It's too long. There's too much nonsensical dialogue between. My God,
It was just very tedious.
I don't defend it.
I know, but I just think a lot of fans were expecting a lot more than they received. So I don't think it was a bad film. It's just not a hero film.
It was like a 3-hour character development that went nowhere.
Right.
And Nick Nolte, I love Nick Nolte. Mm-hmm. What the hell was he doing in this film? Can anybody tell me?
I think he was playing David Banner. Oh, I'm sorry. You meant that in another phrase.
He was kind of channeling the character he had from other movies, and not in a good way. I mean, I think
the drunk guy.
He gave it 100%. We got to say that
he did. Yeah.
But it just didn't exactly work. I mean, I always admire.
Let's give it a star for effort.
Exactly.
Everyone showed up.
They showed up in droves. I remember getting a text message from a girl that actually went and took a girl to go see this movie on a date with. And
she break up with you after
obviously. Apparently my taste in movies sucked at that point. But I got a text message from her, and she was asking me to go out again. And like, can we go see something better because that last movie sucked. It sucked.
Oh. Yeah, I think.
So we went to see Daredevil.
Okay, wait, hold on. Dark Roast Rises. We can talk about Daredevil, but specifically today, we're going into the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, Thor.
One day Thor. We can talk about Daredevil.
We'll have a future episode that you can call in.
Dave is holding us down.
And we'll talk about Daredevil then. But in a nutshell, I didn't hate Daredevil. But anyway, so Adrianna, cue camera on Adrianna. So your review of...
Don't tell the room what to do.
Nice to see who's in charge.
Hey, I'm in this too.
Tim's getting the shaft in this camera now.
Oh boy.
So they'll give us your full-fledged review of the film.
Oh God, full-fledged. I mean, I can understand it was very long and very kind of melodramatic and tedious, but I mean, when I saw it the first time,
you're stacking the deck
really
pretty hard
excited.
against yourself right now.
I know, but honestly, I mean, Ang Lee, I mean, what he's done with his films in the past, you know, he puts his insight basically into like the human soul and the heart, and it's like broken so many barriers in terms of conveying that in films. So, but I mean, like in terms of Hulk, I don't think it really worked right.
No.
It just didn't work as well. I don't think it was a bad movie. I don't, but it just wasn't. Like I said, it's not a hero action-packed film, and I think that's why a lot of fans were disappointed. You know. And
I think a lot of purists were disappointed more, Stan, because it was the first big.
Right, but I also liked the fact that that maybe someone that necessarily doesn't know the Hulk, you know, this was a way for them to like see his backstory and
thrown in the wrong direction.
Well, Ang Lee was really just not the right choice for it.
Yeah, but
he didn't. Did he write the script?
No, as a director, you oversee the script. And
yeah, I know that, jerk. But who wrote the script for it? Because clearly he didn't cut anything from it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know. Some guy they found on the street, apparently.
What's Tim think of the movie?
You.
Right. You've been strangely involved in this section.
I don't know. I don't have much to say about Daredevil.
I don't know. You pretend like Hulk doesn't exist.
Oh, no. The Incredible Hulk. No, the Hulk. It's the one with the big green guy. Shrek. Right. So I liked the first Shrek, and the second one was okay.
Fourth one
really
I never knew that Ang Lee directed Shrek. I guess that's
really laid in because Dark Roast Rises really wants us to tear into the film, and I'm going kid gloves. You take it away.
He's talking to you, I think.
Okay, well we'll let Peppercorn, rip it a new a-hole.
Well, if he likes it, then he likes it.
That's true, though.
This was the greatest movie I've ever seen. No, I like Ang Lee as a director, but he was definitely the wrong choice for this one. I think the problem with the Hulk film is, I think it's still this way, but there's the Hulk TV show, the Bill Bixby Hulk with Lou Ferrigno and all that. It was a great show. Yeah. Was always much more popular and much more known in the mainstream world than the comic book. I mean, people knew that it was from a comic book, but the TV show got more viewers per week, more people knew about it than people who bought the comic book. So I think you were dealing with two different fan bases, and you were never going to please both of them. Right. And in this case, you didn't really please either of them because you had the TV show audience, which had a very clear idea of what they thought the Hulk was, and the comic book audience that had a very clear idea of what the Hulk was. It's a comic book movie he tried to put a lot of science and insight into, which is which is noteworthy. But at the same time, it's the Incredible Hulk, and you wait so long before you get the Incredible Hulk. Yeah. And then when you get him, he's like this,
It's not like Hulk smash. It's Hulk think, Hulk confused, Hulk jellyfish.
It's like a Terrence Malick Hulk movie.
And I liked Eric Bana. I actually think that Eric Bana was not a bad choice for Bruce Banner.
No, not at all.
But I just think it was I'm sorry.
It wasn't executed well.
It was just a big misfire.
Yeah.
Okay, so
not terrible, but
why don't we move on to the Incredible
the reboot?
Now that is the shortest period of time. It's almost a reboot, but it's the shortest period of time for a film franchise to be completely reinvented. They come out with the film in 2003, and then by 2008 they basically reinvent it. It's like it just disappointed people so much.
In a bit of a better state too. It was. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that Incredible Hulk, even though I'm not one of the big fans of Ed Norton, who I consider the M. Night Shyamalan of actors, basically because his success in Primal Fear back in the 90s was the reason why he's still working today, and he half-hearts almost everything he's done since then. Almost everything.
Edward Norton?
Yeah, you know, the guy who just like, he doesn't really commit to what he's saying. He just kind of does lines and sounds
Bro,
like
analyze your acting work on this show? Like,
He's entitled to his opinion, Joe.
Guess who passed their actor studio audition? Dave Campfield. Guess who didn't pass their actor studio audition? Ed Norton.
Guess who's world famous and makes a lot of money right now?
Ed Norton.
Ed Norton. Who's doing an internet show with people that he found on the street?
Look, he can't even sit upright in the chair. No, he's terrible.
No, okay, I'm saying that Ed Norton.
He half-hearts everything he does, though. I'm joking about you. I'm sorry. I know.
American History X.
I don't want to upset you in any way, shape, or form at all.
American History X, I liked it a lot. I'm just saying, a lot of the times he's gone the direction of Matthew Broderick in that he doesn't commit like he used to.
I'll give you the Matthew Broderick thing, but Edward Norton, I'm sorry.
I just don't think that Ed Norton
the way he phoned in Red Dragon.
Yeah, I just don't think that he's.
Jeez, could he even show up? They had to have Brad Pitt play half his role.
Yeah, well, most of the time. Oh, decide that.
Didn't he also? He also co-wrote this Incredible Hulk.
He wanted it to be like the Bill Bixby one.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, he was a big fan.
Missy Heather.
Hi, Missy.
Yes to Ed Norton. And American History X is an example of where I did like him very much. I'm just saying that a lot of times more.
I'm not saying he's the greatest actor ever, but saying he phones everything in.
I think that more recent. In films other than American History X, he sort of half does it.
Zach Penn.
Primal Fear was was the film that he did so well in that he got everyone's enthusiasm. And since then, I don't know if he's maybe other than American History X has hit that same level.
Fight Club.
I liked him. I don't think so in Fight Club. I mean, not bad Fight Club, but the thing is, in this film,
let's start a Fight Club.
I
want to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a parking lot outside.
In this film, I thought he did adequate Ed Norton. I thought he was okay. I think he was a decent lead. But as a film, I thought the story was very interesting. But the shortcoming of these Hulk films, I did think this. I thought the previous Hulk film was fair. I thought this one was good. The shortcomings of this Hulk film, sadly, seems to be the fact that it's a CGI Hulk. The Hulk that if they had simply done something closer.
More steroids to people.
No, they have.
Death to Smoochie is pretty good. I'm sorry.
Yes, Death
I love Death to Smoochie.
He was good in that. I take that back. He was good in Death to Smoochie. I don't like the film that much, but he was good in Death to Smoochie.
I love that movie. Actually, I think that movie's hilarious.
So the technology that they used in Lord of the Rings, where they take an actor, make him small, like take an actor, make him big. It was what I wish they did with these Hulk movies. Take an actor like a Lou Ferrigno, blow him up, make him bigger than he is, make him a 9-foot Hulk, not this big monster, this like 12-foot guy.
Here's where you falter as not a purist. And I'm not saying that you're. I am saying you're wrong. I'm sorry,
now.
But like, the thing about the first of all, they didn't have the.
Yeah, we're hearing music, man. You guys listen to music in the control room because you're so bored by our show?
My whole point is this. You can't, and I will actually, I defend and argue this.
Attention, Joe is about to have a point.
I'm going to defend and argue this point about the Hulk. You can't just do that, make an actor bigger and smaller. I think it lends itself to the character more if you do the CGI thing, because then, I mean, granted, I hated the first Incredible Hulk movie. I did somewhat like the second one, and I loved The Avengers, which is the next time we saw the incarnation of the Hulk. Mm-hmm. But you couldn't have just done Mark Ruffalo as a big guy. You know what I mean?
Right,
the comic book does not lend itself to that. The comic book it takes a smaller guy and makes him into a big hulking mass. Hence the name. Mm-hmm. You know, if you just blow the character up, it's just going to look like somebody who's an actor who's green. And it's not going to look like the Hulk, not to the hundreds of people that have read the comic book and followed the character, especially in the Avengers. And I think the CGI is the right way to go. A lot of people argue against me, but for this character, you get to see the comic book come alive. And I think that's, if any comic fan goes to see that, to see that whatever they read on page jump up in front of them. So you do that with CGI. It's fine. It's movies. Movies is magic.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
So.
I thought he looked kind of funny, Edward Norton, in The Incredible Hulk. Like, I felt like his head was kind of like smaller than the rest of his body in like certain shots. I don't know.
He is oddly shaped.
He is oddly shaped, and I just don't see like, I mean, you put like.
I like the idea of him playing Bruce Banner though.
No, me too. Yeah. I did. I don't know. This was my least favorite Hulk. I mean, CGI wise.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I don't know. I didn't really buy it.
Timmy Packer says, anybody have thoughts on who would be a perfect actor?
I think The Dark Horse Rising is asking Tim specifically who you would pick as the If you were casting it, who would you pick as the perfect Bruce Banner?
As the perfect Bruce Banner? I would say, I would have said actually back in the day when this first came out, I would have said like a Johnny Depp at that.
Yeah. At that point in his career?
I can see that. Sort of playing it more akin to the way his performance is in like The Ninth Gate. As opposed to like now where everything seems to be very Jack Sparrow-ish.
Yeah.
Or like basically, but he's not working with Tim Burton. It might be totally different. And there was a lot of rumor that he was going to play this part. And as we know, as the rumors go, I thought he would have done great. With this particular movie, movie felt like they made it for the mass audience. It has a lot of action and stuff like this. I would have loved to see the story of Bruce Banner in the lab, sort of something that they did in the Avengers with Mark Ruffalo.
They did.
Sort of
Mark
that
Ruffalo,
aspect
perfect
of the character.
Hulk, by the way.
Yes,
yeah,
it's probably the best.
And I love where he went with the character and stuff like that, and the way they treated him in that.
And the fact that you don't even see the character until a good 45 minutes into the film. Probably a half hour, actually. And he has that great scene
the problem with the Hulk is, and they talked about this, he's probably not going to be another Hulk movie. Probably not. He will appear in other movies, so certainly in Avengers 2, as we all saw the picture and the GIF that's online now.
The Hulkbuster?
Hulk fighting the Hulkbuster.
Yes, the Hulkbusters!
Yeah, the problem is you have an actor like Mark Ruffalo who loves to act, who's very immerses himself in the character and stuff like this. He does not want to go on set and put on the CGI ping pong ball suit and run around screaming at things he wants to really perform.
Well, he will if you pay him enough.
I love Mark Ruffalo.
Well, yeah,
I think
but he doesn't. But he's not. He'll do
Banner.
it for the Avengers when he does this type of thing, but he's not the type who's going to really. And I mean, that's what people want to see. If you want a story, you need Bruce Banner. If you want to just see action, you need the.
But
Hulk.
that's why he's the perfect.
But
that's why he's the perfect person to have in the Avengers, because the character of Bruce Banner in the grand spectrum of the Avengers plays such a large part, and you don't. It's unlike a Hulk movie. You have other characters. So you have Captain America, you have Thor.
So you can get your action.
So eventually, you can get to the Hulk, and that's why I think it works so well, because you had Mark Ruffalo, and. He had that. There was that great scene between him and Tony Stark in the control room. Like it was a good choice, and I think
we're not reviewing the Avengers today.
But the Hulk was in it, so you
doesn't matter. We're dealing with the two specific Hulk movies, and we're gonna have an event. We're gonna have an episode on the Avengers where we talk about.
Can I just wrap up real quick, and then we can go to commercial?
No, we're not going to commercial until Adrianna finishes her review. But finish that thought, and then we're going to go to our final reviews of this film of the Incredible Hulk.
Tim Roth was also in it.
Yeah, Tim Roth was.
Let's talk about Tim Roth. We're wrapping up.
What did you think of the movie?
And kids always
Of
wrap
the
up.
Incredible Hulk?
And the Incredible Hulk,
minus the CGI of the Hulk.
Or the Incredibles.
Minus just as a film itself, because I felt that the CGI was the weak point, but the film surrounding it was pretty good. It was a solid film.
I mean, like you mentioned before, I felt like it kind of appealed to more like the mainstream, like, okay, we want more action, more, like laying down some lines like Hulk smash, and I don't know. It wasn't my favorite Hulk movie. I felt some parts were kind of cheesy, and I mean, that's honestly, that's all I really have to say about it.
But Adrianna, though, what is it? I got to ask you this. I asked the Superman guy this as well. But you love the Hulk.
Yes, I do.
Why is it? Do you just like to smash things?
She likes big, muscular guys.
No, that's not true.
She's been absorbing gamma radiation for years.
No, who
doesn't love the Hulk?
No, well, yes, who doesn't love the Hulk, and who's not? The Jekyll and Hyde complex is so intriguing. Who doesn't find that? Exciting, and
so the dual nature of humanity.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, it's a modern day taking on Jekyll and Hyde.
And the way, basically the way I like to put it is, the way I like to put it is by accepting the monster within himself makes him more of a man among others, and that's what I really admire that about the Hulk a lot.
Oh, so that was sweet.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts on Incredible Hulk?
Tim Roth is in it. He was also in Legend of 1900. Which is an excellent film if you haven't seen it. There is no giant green men smashing anything. I think a piano gets broken at one point, though.
So next
Tim
up,
Roth
after our commercial break, and that's it. After our commercial break, we're going to go on to 2 Thor movies. Now, Adrianna, what do you think of the Thor movies?
I don't really know too much about Thor, Dave.
Then you get the hell out of this program.
Okay.
Okay, let's hit our commercial break right now.
You have breasts.
That I do, Joe.
We're progressive.
That
I do. In Revio.com.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
Fantasy Baseball Code Red, the all-new weekly show bringing you the latest news, insight, and advice on all things fantasy baseball. Join Mike Ferrara and Mike Moosbrugger on In Ravio every Saturday at 11 for an hour of unscripted and fully interactive live fantasy baseball. Fantasy Baseball Code Red, season premiere March 22nd at 11 on InRavio.com. In Ravio, this isn't TV, this isn't radio, this is InRavio.com.
Welcome back to Nerdgasm.
I'm sorry the girl's gone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She was great. She was great. But she hasn't seen Thor, so she was dead weight. What can I say? Anyway,
talk about my friend that way.
She's my friend too.
She was my friend before you knew who she
existed. This is true. This is true. You introduced me to her. She's
Thank
cool.
you.
All right, it's fine. Okay, so now we're talking about Thor and Thor: The Dark
Look at that
World.
graphic. That is high
Not a
tech.
bad graphic.
Okay, I made the graphic. All right, you got a problem with that?
I never said. I didn't say it was a. I said not a bad graphic.
Yeah. Okay. It's basically
Red
you go
outline,
with-
block letters,
Yeah,
smoky background.
Thank you very much. I worked 3 hours on that logo.
Get a life.
Hands gone.
Yeah, where's my hands too? Woo!
Hey, green screen fun. Anyway, we were talking about Thor.
That's right.
I'm getting direction right now.
There were two Thor films that came out. The first one was in 2011, and the
Unless
new
you're
one just
counting
came
the one
out
that
this
was on
last.
the Hulk series.
Two Thor feature films released through Paramount, the big ones. To me, there's always been a little bit of a disconnect between the Thor character and, say, other comic book heroes. Conceptually speaking,
he's based in mythology?
Right. It's much more of a Greek mythology-based character, and I have a harder time having the connection. Having the connection between that character. And I would say in re-watching the first film today, it's interesting to go back and see how Tom Hiddleston, what is his name? Hiddleston played it at that point. And, when you look at the two characters, I didn't take to Chris Hemsworth right away. It took some time, because I didn't feel like...
Till that scene where he takes his shirt off? That's great.
No, maybe for you, but it didn't really...
Sorry, I have to fill in for Adrianna.
We know what Matt likes.
I'm here to provide the female perspective.
So, I felt that with all of the actors that they had, and I don't mean no disrespect to the actor, but of everyone that they could have chosen to play Thor, I was kind of surprised that this was the guy that was the best.
Really? I got it immediately.
No, I thought he's kind of hammy, but not in a good way. Whereas I think that Loki was so perfectly cast. I mean, you couldn't get it. I can't think of anybody who would be better as Loki. Thor, like, he was okay. He was good. I mean, I feel like Iron Man is perfectly cast. A lot of these guys are so perfectly cast. I think this guy, it's like, well, we can't find anybody who's good enough.
I disagree. I think he was the only choice for Thor.
I like Hemsworth.
I don't think you could have found anybody. I believe that
to fulfill the physical demand of the role, to basically look the part.
He does look the part.
I don't think he did a bad job.
No, I don't think he does a bad job.
But that's my point.
I don't have a problem with his acting or his performance in it all. He's not the most amazing actor. I mean, and there are a lot of really good actors in the movie. Yeah. But I think he fits the character.
I actually think he's gotten better progressively as he plays a part.
Yeah, he seems more natural in it.
I also think the first Thor movie is a little bit of we're going to try this and see if it works. Even though it was part of the major plan, of the 5-year plan that Marvel put, but I don't know if they once it worked, they're like, okay, splendid.
I mean, like Dave said, I mean, you're dealing with a character that's established in Norse mythology. Yeah. That you have a lot of backstory that goes into that, and sort of introducing that sort of thing to a mainstream audience.
It's a tough call. No, I agree. Yeah. I really do agree.
And
with
I
that.
think choosing like Kenneth Branagh as a director was a good choice.
Yeah, because
then the way they
plays
fleshed
into
out
the Shakespeare kind of aspect that he's so
Right.
used to doing, and he can do that kind of thing.
And I was thinking that, as I was watching the second film, I'll spare my opinion of it until we get to it, but there was definitely more of a connection that Hopkins had with Branagh as a director. Because Hopkins' performance in this film, I think, is pretty solid. He goes a little big sometimes. but when you get into the second one, it was sort of...
He clearly likes playing the part, though.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to play Odin?
Maybe after Lear.
That's an inside joke. Thank you.
All right, threw me off.
Only our friends watch.
Right, but
I mean, everyone watches.
That is a graphic. Look at that.
Well, because...
did you do that?
Good job,
That's
Dave.
a good one.
Yeah,
Good
I made
job.
that one. I really know what Photoshop.
I apologize for my previous... No, I don't.
Okay, well, I didn't really make this one. Then I didn't make that one either. So, but as a story, as a story, I liked it. Captain America, Thor, they're not my favorite comic book movies, but they hold my attention just enough to enjoy it. I mean, it's not like I have more of a connection with a lot of the other ones. And I thought the pacing was good. I think Branagh was actually pretty, as you pointed out, it was a pretty good pick, for this. It was surprising to see him in it. Like, if this film had been done 15 years before, Branagh might have been the character after he bulked up.
Maybe.
He
was a pretty short guy.
Yeah, that's the problem. Hemsworth did have the height for it, because Thor has always been depicted as a very tall,
I mean, honestly, if they had done this movie 20 years earlier, it would have been Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, easily it would have been Dolph Lundgren. Yeah. It would have been Dolph Lundgren easily.
And it would have been one of our campy favorite movies, but no one would have saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
well, technically, we did get Thor in the Incredible Hulk series.
Yes.
But it was, you called him...
And Adventures in Babysitting, as I mentioned earlier. Nobody seemed to enjoy that reference.
Peppercorn. What is your honest review of the original Thor movie, from top to bottom, as far as how it's acted, how it's directed?
The first Thor movie.
The first one.
The first Thor. What do you call it? I went into this movie very skeptical because, I mean, listen, this is a very difficult character.
It's a tough call.
It has a lot of mythology that's also twisted to fit the comic books in a lot of ways. But I think they made the right choice with the director and with the supporting cast to help Chris Hemsworth out, to help him get into the character.
He was very young when he did this as well. He still is.
He's still a young guy. And I think the only other big role he had up until this point was, and it wasn't even a big role, he plays Captain Kirk's father in the 2009 Star Trek, which he got... Which is one of the things that got him sort of noticed. Yeah. In fact, that he did such a great job. And this was
his big, arguably Thor was his big breakout role.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it is. No, it is.
Other movies that he was in previously, like Cabin in the Woods, didn't get a mainstream release because of that, and so on and so forth.
Because he was Thor and they wanted to give it a good release.
This is as solid a comic book movie as you're going to get. I mean, it's by the numbers. It tells the story.
It's very dedicated to the text that it comes from.
Yeah, I mean, it's true to the text, but it's inaccessible in a way that anyone can sit down and watch it and enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, There's some stuff to it where you have to be a real purist comic book nerd to sort of follow.
That's
along.
what I felt like Captain America kind of downfall from for a lot of people, because Captain America was very purist.
That's very almost
very
word for word
purist. Where like a lot of regular people were like, and I don't mean like, but people who don't read the comic book were like, I didn't like it, and I'm like, you didn't get it, and that's
but
the
also
movie's fault.
The first part of, I mean, Thor starts off exciting.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it's got a backstory
with the frost giant
war,
thing.
And
It definitely
mess
does.
with the ice giants. And all this other stuff. Captain America takes about a good hour or more
To build to that.
Yeah.
They really did the origin verbatim how it is in the.
I mean, that's that, and people just didn't want to see a World War II story.
What about Rutger
Yeah,
Hauer?
that's I was trying to get to that, but the chat room was suggesting if the film was made 15, 20 years ago, what about Rutger Hauer as Thor?
Rutger Hauer.
I would have enjoyed that.
I would have loved that.
And if it was made for like $3 million.
Yeah, exactly. Roger Corman directed it.
All the armor is just plastic.
But I think that a lot of this stuff, I didn't enjoy Thor as much when he's on his planet versus when he's on Earth. And the fish out of water.
I don't think you were supposed to.
I guess, but
Hawkeye's in it. Hawkeye's in it.
Yeah,
I love that cameo.
So, first film, I like it. I think that they're on a scale of say 4 stars. I think it's a 3-star movie, and we touched on all the basics of.
I give about 3.5 stars.
Really?
Just from a comic book standpoint, as a regular movie,
We're
3
going back to
stars.
stars? I never know how this rating system works.
I change the rating system every week. What can I
I
say?
give it 72 pinwheels.
Out of how many?
You can all figure out what that means.
Out of how many though?
Out of the square root of I don't care. It's a decent movie. See it, you like it, rate it yourself.
As far as comic movie
I'm not
goes,
doing your work for you people anymore.
As far as comic movie goes, it's definitely up there. It's got a good villain. It's got a pretty good story. The main character, he looks just like Thor. He did a decent job with the character. I really like him. And I think, like you said, Tim, I think you can show this to like a non-comic book person. They can enjoy it.
Yeah. And I think it's a great gateway into the
Marvel
larger
universe.
Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this certainly made
It's one of the startup films,
concept
so.
of Greek gods more accessible.
Well, and I was going to say this. They summed that up with one line, and I really think this is a really good line where he says, "You call it science, we call it magic. We come from a place where this is the same." So they kind of. And without knowing, they're like, oh, okay, like, you accept that as an audience member. I think it's a good line. I think it kind of lets us not worry about too much stuff.
Because when you think of films like Clash of the Titans, all
Clash of the
versions of
Titans
it,
is so good.
it was not, you couldn't identify in any way with these characters. They have it.
What are you talking about? Pegasus, like
no.
The mechanical owl.
But so it's, I guess, as good as any depiction
Let's
of
do an
Greek.
Harryhausen episode.
It's as good of a depiction of anything that's sort of like Greek god related to me. But I can only enjoy it so much. I mean, I did, the Iron Mans, the Spider-Mans, the Batman movies, Superman. I mean, they read more, they connect more with me.
I think Thor falters just a little bit. Not falters, but it's tougher because of the mythology that's involved with it. Yep. I think it's harder to sell to audiences. Very successful comic book and still is to this day, but it's as a movie, I think it's tough to sell. And that sucks because I think Thor is actually one of the more interesting heroes that we have. I think he's got a very interesting story to tell.
Well, as he goes in through the comic books, you get more of a sense of him, and he's been through a lot more.
Yeah.
This is Thor at the beginning.
Yeah.
When was the comic book created? How long of a
The
standard?
60s. The 60s. Jack Kirby. It was a Jack Kirby creation, I believe, actually.
Jack Kirby, who's, if you've read any of Jack Kirby works, or you follow any of his work, he's very big into the idea of gods and mythology.
And it was he pitched the idea.
In the DC and the Marvel universe, he uses them a lot. I mean, the whole Princess Diana and Wonder Woman story is all
that was
Greek
his, he did Wonder Woman as well, if that gives you any,
Yeah. And then he did all the new gods with Highfather and Darkseid. He did all those characters.
Jack Kirby was big into mythology, and he had... There's a joke, not a joke, but there's a thing within the comic book community called Kirby Dots.
Yes.
And it started with Thor, where there's these great pictures of Thor. We have the hammer, and he had these dots around it, signature Kirby. I wish we could throw it up right now, but we can't.
You have to settle on that.
But no, but it would be a picture like that, but he would have like some kind of aura around the hammer, and there'd be these dots coming up. But he was very big into the ideas of gods and monsters. That's why a lot of the stuff that he was very involved in a writing standpoint was stuff like Thor and Wonder Woman, because that's the idea that he really liked. And he did a very good job of twisting it into the comic book world.
Yeah, he found a lot of humanity in godlike characters, which is one of the reasons he was such a great and legendary comic book.
Well, he is one of the greats.
Let's move on to Thor: The Dark World. Does this guy, you guys know the comics, I don't. Does this tie into any existing series in the comics?
Oh, yeah.
The Dark World?
It's all derived from something. The elf stuff is from the Thor. That was a storyline. Pretty decently sized one.
So I'll give my little review, and then I'll throw it around the table here. See,
I'll be right back.
Sit your ass down right now. So,
Dave's getting trashed. Chat room. I'm forgetting it. What? Everybody's gone. What happened?
Stop.
No, I'm not making. I'm sorry.
I can't focus. So
from the diaphragm, Dave.
I enjoy this. No, I thought this was good. This is another good installment of a comic book hero that I don't enjoy as much. I don't know how much that has to do with the choice of actor, because when I look at Loki, I find a fascinating character as it's developed through all the 3 films that he's been featured in. I think that Loki has been the reason why I've liked the films that Thor appears in. Thor is, it's sort of like a serviceable.
Tom Hiddleston is an amazing actor.
Yeah, it's like he really brings something so specific and interesting, and I think he will, through time, he's going to wind up being one of the great actors from what I see.
Tom Hiddleston is an amazing actor.
Yeah, okay, we got it the first.
I'm just saying.
And it's some of my problem with modern action films. In particular, a lot of the Marvel ones outside of Spider-Man, is that these MacGuffins, that device that Hitchcock, what is everybody in the film aspiring for? What is everybody in the storyline looking for? Whether it's the Tesseract or whether it's the ether. These MacGuffins, they don't resonate with me. It's reminding me of early drafts of Star Wars where they had the Kyber crystal as a MacGuffin. I feel like there's elements to these plots that are making it less interesting, and actually, for films that are designed for kids, making it harder for me to follow. I can't believe that I'm watching films that are designed for kids and I'm having a hard time following the specificity of the plot. I get the character stuff, the plot stuff confuses me. And I enjoyed the visuals of getting thrown from one dimension to the other, but I'm not exactly sure why all of this was happening. So I think that in terms of a visceral experience, I liked it very much. But the villain was not that interesting, the Dark Elf. You got a supporting character in Loki. He was more like a catalyst who was a lot more interesting than this Dark Elf who didn't really seem to have that much definition. He was evil for the sake of being evil, for all intents and purposes. But in terms of just a popcorn rousing experience, does its job. And
there he is. Shows up, a true guy. Shows up in costume at San Diego Comic-Con.
So it's another film. I said that the Thor films are very comparable in their own ways. Anthony Hopkins, for some reason, just got bored and just started going through his lines in a way that didn't interest him. And I think that has a lot to do with the choice of director not being someone like a Kenneth Branagh. I know. But let me throw it over to you guys. Let me get your thoughts. Let's start with you, Peppercorn. You did review it on an earlier episode. But rather than go back from the archives and watch
I don't know why so many people hate Daredevil. Oh, sorry. That's called
Did that come up again?
No, I just wanted to do a callback for my own sake. Thor: The Dark World it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And I open every review with that because it is entertaining. I have a good time. There are problems with it. The first hour of it, up until we get Loki back into the mix,
He's not in it for an hour?
No, he's in it. He has a little... But
he's not a major character.
Until they break him out until he becomes part of the team.
I like that whole Hannibal Lecter thing they did with him, though, where he's in the
prison, yeah.
Because I think they were building to a point, and when that point is made, I'm like, oh, geez, because he's, the trickster, so...
Right, yeah. But up until that point, it's sort of just... It's sort of a same old thing. It starts with that same backstory introduction of a war a long time ago, and the bad guy's back again. Which is, very similar to the first one, and then it's just a lot of, Thor's just kind of hanging around, being sort of moody and stuff, and then you cut to Earth, and you have Kat Dennings doing her best to make bad jokes funny.
I like Kat Dennings.
Yeah, so it's hard, but once it gets started, and once you get Loki back into the
it
fold,
does go really back,
yeah, it picks up and it gets much more exciting.
It's definitely like the.
I didn't like it as well as I liked the first one, or some of the other action movies, but I was entertained. I didn't dislike it in any sense.
Lockdown points out that who's the actor who played the villain? He's
Tom Hiddleston.
No,
Chris Eccleston.
Eccleston. You said poor Eccleston, given like nothing to work with the villain other than.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot what the name of his character was, but it's not a very well.
He wasn't. Well, he didn't have many lines to say. He was there.
Totally,
he did the best of what he had.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's so much other story that they were trying to get
I know.
to.
And it was like lovely JoJo says Daredevil sucked ass.
It's just lovely. Who's JoJo? I don't know.
I know this person's full name.
Don't call them out. It might be embarrassing.
No, it's not their full actual name anyway. So I'm right. Bad guys in glass cages.
I'm sure they are.
Is Daredevil that movie about Evil Knievel?
No, that's Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider we're thinking about now.
I love this.
So,
Nicolas Cage. Why doesn't he have more Oscars?
Hey, I like Nick Cage. Why? Matt, shut it.
I say we just end this ridiculous conversation and watch The Wicker Man.
now, did
Which
everybody
one?
see the one shot, the bonus that they have on the Thor DVD called All Hail the King, which is a sort of follow-up to Iron Man 3. Did you guys see it?
No, I didn't get the DVD yet.
Okay, so the Blu-ray, and I think
I
the
will
DVD,
be getting the DVD.
The DVD as well have this
You're not
short
going to ask me
film
to
that.
do my review, but that's fine.
No, you're not. Like, just give me a second on this, and then I'm
go
going to
ahead.
throw
Go
it right
ahead,
over to
talk
you.
some more. It's
And then
your
you got the
show,
whole
Dave.
rest of the show. You get the rest of the show, Joe.
I know,
okay, so
I know.
just just to quickly mention it. All Hail the King is a bonus feature on the Thor DVD, which
Don't spoil
follows
it for me and Tim. We haven't
which
seen it yet.
follows. I'm going to tell you everything that happened in it. There would be nothing surprising left. That follows Ben Kingsley's character from Iron Man 3, and it's got some wonderful cameos. I don't want to spoil it.
I love that.
I think I might have enjoyed that.
I love that character. Everybody hated it.
Purists were pissed, but it was.
I am a purist. I'm like, this is great. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
They should have done the comic book.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
but
Go
see,
ahead.
you guys are going to love it, and you're going to love the cameos that come in at the very end of it.
Let's steal that DVD from Dave.
This is not
Can
my
I have
DVD
this,
to
please?
steal. It's not my DVD. So,
Let's steal it from
Joe,
the
what is
comic
your review of the new Thor film? And then I'm gonna go to commercial, and you're gonna host the whole
Thank God
rest
he
of
has
it.
enough beer for this review.
The Thor movie.
It had a lot of head.
I got some headlines.
Oh,
for
I'm
you.
sorry. That was the adult version.
I like the Thor movie. I didn't like it as much as the first. As I was a big fan of the first Thor movie. I did feel like the villain didn't have a whole lot to say. Tom Hiddleston, great as Loki.
He's a great actor.
This is the most awkward
You're like-
episode of
you're like
Nerdgasm ever.
goddamn
There's
Santa Claus
so
right
many
now.
awkward pauses where we one person says something, and the other one takes a pause and thinks, "What do I say now?"
No,
Joe,
I liked it. I just felt like there's one. If there was one, I like there's a whole.
In the pause.
Shut up.
If there was one real issue I had with it, because I don't really have an issue with it. The one real issue I had with it is they seemed like they threw in stupid jokes whenever they wanted to. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny, but at the end of the day, I'm like, look, the subway thing. Which was kind of funny, but I'm just only for the image of him on the subway.
If it was just a subway joke, that joke would have killed.
Oh, God,
But the
yes.
fact that they have so many lame jokes.
Yeah,
throughout-
there was a couple. I mean, some of them I like, but for the most part, I'm like, you're just. I mean, come on, man, because you do have a pretty solid movie with an interesting storyline. You already have. Everybody is going to go see this already because of everything off the Avengers. I think Thor has actually become one of the characters that's become more loved, only because he had one film before the Avengers, whereas Iron Man had two, and I think everybody's kind of warming up to Thor again. And he's slowly becoming, like, I hope they make a Thor 3 and do a big scoping storyline with it. I don't know what they could do. Maybe a Tales from Asgard story. Hopefully that'd be really cool. But,
You'll introduce Beta Thor.
Oh, God, really? That would be awesome. No, that'd be really cool, though.
Is there such a thing as Beta Thor? You're not making that up. That's a character. From
No, there's a character.
There's a character called Beta Thor.
Is he on beta blockers?
So moving on. I like the movie.
Matt supports you with his laugh.
I like the movie. I think it's a good film. Do I like it as much as the original? No, but not enough to say I don't like it. I give it 3 stars.
I like these comments in the chat room. Joe gets no headlights. It's like the Odd Couple. The show has become like the Odd Couple plus Dave. Dave seems to be floundering. That was true just a moment ago. But anyway, when we come back, we're going to be this is a sequence spearheaded by Joe Winchell that's going to be talking about the different incarnations.
What? I'm sorry, I thought we were ending. What are we talking about?
We're going to be talking about the different incarnations.
Oh, we're going to talk about that?
We're going to be the different incarnations of these characters throughout the last few decades. So make sure you come back. We have a little commercial break, and see everybody soon, including you, locked down.
InRevio.com.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
Fantasy Baseball Code Red, the all-new weekly show bringing you the latest news, insight, and advice on all things fantasy baseball. Join Mike Ferrara and Mike Moosbrugger on InRevio every Saturday at 11 for an hour of unscripted and fully interactive live fantasy baseball. Fantasy Baseball Code Red, season premiere March 22nd at 11 on InRevio.com. InRevio, this isn't TV, this isn't radio, this is InRevio.com.
Sit up, Joe.
Oh, shit.
You're not wrong.
Welcome back to Nerdgasm. My name is Joe Winchell. To my left is Peppercorn Montgumary, and to my right is Dave Cohen.
Dave Cohen. You're thinking of another Dave, you know.
Yeah, that's a do.
Joe, still on the ball.
Yep.
We're going to talk about different versions of Hulk and Thor.
Joe, you're right, man. Let me hold on to this to you for a while here.
Mystery Science Theater 3.
Oh, well, we have a bit of breaking news today, actually, that I want
to
just come up with, is that they've announced that Mystery Science Theater 3000, for anybody who's watched the show, is finally, well, not finally because they ended the show, but it's coming back. And it's coming back in a very interesting network.
Yes.
What network is it coming on, Tim?
The National Geographic Channel.
I'll watch it on anything, I don't care.
Like I said, I'd watch it on Fox News. Ooh, Freudian slip. Fox News. Not important, though. So anyway, for those of you who are longtime fans of comic book TV shows and movies and so forth and so on, you might have seen some of the TV movies that they made based on the Incredible Hulk TV series, starring Bill Bixby.
They did 2.
And they did... I think they did 3, but that's not
They did
important.
3? I thought
there was one.
They did do 3. No, you're right.
One of them was called The Trial of the Incredible Hulk, where the guest star was Matt Murdock.
Matt Murdock. We
are
really on the ball right now.
Woo! I love this episode. Anyway,
Matt Murdock is defending the Incredible Hulk, and we get to see Daredevil in the episode.
Yes.
Yeah, which is interesting because I love the Bill Bixby series. I've watched it many times. I think it's great. But anytime they had guest stars on, with the exception of Thor, they just missed the mark just a little bit. It was cheesy, but Daredevil was all in black.
They made the effort.
They made the effort.
When no one else
made the
was.
effort. That's why I've always taken a standpoint. I'm like, just be happy we get this now, because back then they did not know what they were doing.
If you're new to watching movies, I don't know why you would be, or you're new to the comic book movie,
God bless you.
You have no idea what we as fans, especially me, I'm older than you, the horrible, horrible comic book movies we've had to endure. We were just talking about in the chat room, the original Punisher with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
They were reaching.
It's just, and then we talked about it a couple days ago.
The
original Captain America,
the cheesy Captain America movie is horrible.
Oh, the one from the '80s is so bad.
Well, the thing is that those were all produced pretty much by the same company. There was a company called Canon Pictures that did a lot.
Suckfest Films.
Chuck Norris films, and they got the rights. They did at one point.
Did they do Missing in Action or something like that?
Chuck Norris is the Punisher. Why did they do that?
The company the company that bought you Missing in Action bought the rights from Marvel Comics for a period of time during the '80s, and that's where you wound up with that version of Captain America.
But this is before they were a commodity, too.
Right. But remember we had that guest on that episode who wrote a draft of Spider-Man back when it was owned by Canon. So it showed you it was a very different place between now and now. You have these big studios that could really put so much.
The weird thing was they owned the heroes, but not the villains.
Right.
So they had to make up villains for all the movies. And stuff.
And they were also producing them for the price of an episode of the Wonder Years.
There's actually there's a couple Captain America movies.
Yeah.
There's
famous
the famous Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Yes, thank you. You're a doll. Which is just.
Have you ever
which
seen
is
it?
Probably. I've seen pieces of it. It might actually be better than the one they made a few years ago.
Well, what is the Justice League movie that they did? The TV movie.
The TV show. It was a TV show.
You own it. You own most of these films that Peppercorn.
No, but I knew about
that.
That
was a gift.
Okay.
Although I do own it. I do own it on VHS, which was the pilot episode of the Justice League TV series, which was terrible.
I argue the fact that you cannot do that movie with that show without. I mean, they had no Batman, they had no Superman, they had no Wonder Woman, and they had Guy Gardner, and they had Martian Manhunter.
First of all, it was from a guy who got fired from Lois and Clark wrote it. It was terrible. It was. The Atom was like a short little fat guy. It was just all. It was
not well.
Guy Gardner was like slick, cool guy, and not Guy Gardner at all.
But no, he was supposed to be.
I don't think he ever used, aside from turning into the Green Lantern. I don't remember what ring powers he ever used.
No, he never did anything. It was a very poor interpretation of what the characters were, and I feel like it's less that in the Incredible Hulk series, but my favorite to this day is the first incarnation of Iron Man. And I wish we had a picture of it to show, because it was very much like a plastic cutout and a guy.
It actually looks like a Halloween
costume. If I was a kid...
A Halloween costume my dad had made me once.
Yeah, if I was a kid in 1978 and I saw that, I'd be ecstatic. But to go from that to what we have now, literally...
1978.
What's that?
I was 1 year old in that year.
We have some really interesting comments in the chat room right now. Do you guys remember the early 90s 2-hour movies that Fox premiered about Jubilee and some students at
Generation X? Generation X, yes, I saw that.
I saw that.
That was 97 or 98. Actually,
no, it was earlier than that. I think
96,
like 94.
I remember watching it when the day that came out, the premiere episode.
Yeah, well, it was basically a pilot. And
the guy from Manhunter was the bad guy.
From Max Headroom.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the bad guy. I forgot his name.
It was Matt Frewer. Max Headroom was the bad guy.
The guy from Manhunter. Yeah,
it was someone. Yeah, no, it was Matt Headroom. Yeah, he was the bad guy. It was pretty bad.
He has that very low voice. He was also the voice of the Pink Panther.
Right. Anyway, it was a disaster. Everything was.
Well, we don't. That's what we have now. I wish we had the '78 Iron Man.
That sucks compared to the '70s. Look at it, all lights up and it's pretty.
It's awesome, just like the comic book.
I like this. Everything was better in the '70s. Everything was gritty and dirty. And look at the movies; it was great. Actors were unattractive. Now everyone's just too pretty.
You mean you enjoyed the original Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 with Walter Matthau as the leading man?
Walter Matthau is your leading action star.
Yeah.
What a great decade.
Right. I love Walter Matthau.
Gene Hackman. I mean,
Gene Hackman is Popeye Doyle. Yeah,
he's a tough guy.
Right.
I love it.
Now you wind up with Chris Hemsworth as the tough guy because it's only a matter of time.
I buy Chris Hemsworth as a tough guy. I don't buy the guy from Twilight as a tough guy.
Right, but that's the new model. Like a few years from now, they'll remake Popeye Doyle, French Connection, with the Chris Hemsworth.
Just kill myself. I will. I will actually. I love the French Connection.
David's just told us the future, and it's terrible.
If that happens, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to blow my brains all over your face.
Why don't you just go to a Hollywood studio executive's office and do it? What do I have to do with it?
Because I know you
Ladies and gentlemen, it means
more than you have to carry out the message.
Dave has stolen all the joy in the universe.
I do that. I've been told that.
I'm very sad.
Yeah, well, I just think like they missed the mark. I don't think they really knew.
Taxi Driver with Zac Efron.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, can this planet end soon?
If that happens, then.
But okay, so what other former?
I just feel like they missed the mark a little bit. I mean, they tried. They honestly tried. Right.
No, it was cute. They tried.
Because as a kid back then, you were like, "Oh my God, Iron Man!" You've never seen it before.
The Trial of the Incredible Hulk.
That's a great movie. The Trial of the Incredible Hulk is a very good movie.
Yeah, they did one with Thor. Speaking of today's,
I forgot what it's called. But there's one with Thor.
But Thor pops up in the TV show. He wasn't just limited to the movie. He popped up in the TV show once or twice.
I just remember him from the movie.
No, he popped up in the TV show.
It was a TV movie, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
And you had to call him with the hammer, if I recall.
Yeah, it was the guy.
The guy wasn't actually Thor, but he would call Thor.
Yeah, he had like a stick or something.
No, it was the hammer. He had
the hammer. Was he had that? Oh, he had that one. Something like that.
I love it.
The call from Asgard, and he would come.
Oh yeah,
we
was in big fur.
We are officially a show.
It was very 70s.
Look at that. Look at Matt's on top of it. We right now are officially a show. It's like people at home watching this. It's literally like you're hanging out with us right now, and we're sitting at home watching TV because it's this. It's sort of gone from the news-ish show to just three guys hanging out, but that's all more of the fun. Guys, let me ask you this. Do you think that anybody that's played the Hulk thus far, or make that banner thus far, has been good as Bill Bixby?
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo's
gotten the closest.
Yeah, there's something. It's interesting.
Bill Bixby was. That was Tim said it before the TV show. That was a great because. You had the character of the Incredible Hulk, but Bill Bixby was he was a very good actor where he could make.
And he drove the story.
He drove the story very well, and it was interesting to watch, and you liked watching him. He had. So there was this great build-up to, you knew he was going to become the Hulk. When would it happen?
Because he would try to help people without becoming the Hulk.
Yeah,
you always knew he was going to.
Yeah.
Every episode basically had the same plot, but
it was The Fugitive, but with the Hulk.
Ferrigno.
It was basically the A-Team. Only it was.
Well, the TV show The Fugitive, where every week it's a new episode, but he's on the law. But I got to say that The Incredible Hulk, the movie that came out, I really got to give kudos to the director for having a lot of love and respect for the original.
That was all
TV
Edward
show.
Norton.
No, but it was the director. I listened to the commentary. I mean, like, there was a lot of throwbacks in the style, to the music. They had the Lonely Man theme in there, so that is something that I definitely like about what happened to our chat room.
The gamma radiation.
Okay, for one second, I'm sitting here and there's nobody in the chat room. Like, something I said was so awful that everybody just fled. But you're back.
You're that surprised?
Yes.
No, I mean.
Well, anyway, about Bill Bixby's performance, and the thing that Mark Ruffalo brought to the character that was similar to Bill Bixby, who's a very average-sized man. You know, it's not bigger and imposing at all. Very average-sized guy, handsome, average-looking guy. But he had this amazing ability he in that portrayal of that character, where he had this sort of inner anger that he controlled. He was very composed and stuff like that, which just lended to it, which is very similar to what Mark Ruffalo had, where it's very congenial, very polite, and everything else like that. But there's clearly an underlining,
anger underneath everything like that. So
like
when he becomes
a drive and
Bill Bixby had this great opportunity to fight that. He would fight the rage.
Eric Bana's just seemed sort of
he
miserable.
Missed the mark. It was just
and Edward Norton just I don't know. He didn't.
Edward Norton wasn't bad.
He didn't have the pathos at Bixby.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I guess that's
pretty much. That's the best way to put it.
So I think we got to wrap it up. A host.
Always wrap it up.
Go.
Reluctant to tell me that.
Go. I'm just reminding you of your hosting duties.
Good night. This is Nerdgasm. I'm Joe Winchell.
Nuts and bolts after this,
I'm Joe Winchell. See us at Nuts and Bolts later tonight. This is
Dave Campfield.
And that is
Dave Campfield.
Good night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for in the chat room for all your wonderful comments.
Look for Superman at New York Comic-Con.
Next week, best bad movies, everyone. Go on our Facebook page and tell us your favorite bad movie.